Well, good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee with a Coach. You know, you're probably familiar with powerful statements. Statements that are memorable, statements that are remarkable. I was watching something the other day and they were talking about the history of Wendy's, and one of the statements was, "Where's the beef?" One of those really big, powerful statements that people remember. Think back in your history books, things like, "Give me liberty" or "Give me death," Patrick Henry. Powerful statements that we remember. You know, there are other statements, though, that I think are pretty unremarkable and pretty unproductive. I call them lame statements. And so this morning, let's talk about a couple of lame statements and how to deal with them. Here's the first one. The first lame statement is, "I know that." Now, people say "I know that" usually to get you off their back. My kids use "I know that" when I tell them to do something and tell them they ought to do it this way. And they say, "Dad, we know that." Now, the response ought to be something like this, and this is from my buddy Bruce Johnson, who wrote it in his blog. But he says when he hears "I know that," his responses are, number one, "Are you doing it?" And then, of course, if not, second one would be, "Why not?" Third response would be, "If you are doing it, can you do it better?" How does that translate into the big world? Well, I hear this a lot in my workshops. I get a lot of people at the end of my workshops, they say, "You know, that was a good workshop, but a little bit too basic for us." That's another way of saying, "I know that." My question is, are you actually doing it? You've sat through how many workshops and yet your behaviors have not changed? So when you hear the response from somebody or the statement, "I know that," the response should be, are you doing it? If not, why not? And if so, can you do it better? Now the second lame statement is the basic one, "I don't know." And so, for example, with kids, "Hey, why did you kick the soccer ball and break the window?" "I don't know." I've seen this with managers I've been coaching. "Why do you feel it's necessary to yell and scream at your employees?" "I don't know." Well, here's the thing. If you really don't know, well, then there's an opportunity to teach. But I find often that "I don't know" really means I know, but I don't want to say nothing. So I learned this response from a nurse manager that had a background in therapy. And what she says is when somebody says "I don't know," respond like this: "Well, if you did know, what would it be?" You see, I think some people might be holding it inside, and you've just given them permission to really say what they really mean, really think, and really feel. So when somebody says, "I don't know," say, "If you did know, what would it be?" So try those nice responses to those lame statements this week if you happen to hear them, and let me know what happens. You can always reach me at www.askthecoachrightnow.com. Of course, that's where you send me your questions, or you can go to my website, managementfoundry.com, coachmonroe.com, send me an email at coach@contactmycoach.com, or you can call me at 281-8-COACH-8. That's it for this week. I look forward to seeing you next week on Coffee with a Coach.